How did you know that your identity has changed when you entered midlife? What are some of the factors that contribute to them? God will give us experiences along the way in our lives and use it to be a ministry to other people. When bad things happen to us, it's so easy to question God. Did you think that your purpose was different from when you were in 30s than your purpose right now?
Welcome to Meeting Midlife, a podcast about navigating the ups and downs of approaching another season in life. Whether you're experiencing career changes, health issues, or the challenges of an empty nest, let's talk. Join us in this podcast as we share stories of triumph and resilience. It's time to embrace the possibilities of meeting midlife and make the most of this exciting new season.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our episode 2 of Meeting Midlife podcast.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining in and thank you for listening to episode 1.
Yeah, thank you so much to everyone who actually sent their kind words, their encouragement. A lot of people have sent messages to us, some friends. And there are even like friends from here who like, oh my gosh, I can relate to what y'all are going through. And we're just really grateful that you guys are listening and are also excited for what's coming. Like we said, we're not experts. We're actually here to share experiences of how it is for me to also about to meet midlife. I have a lot of questions and I want myself to be ready. And I know there's a lot of people out there who are also my age who want to know what it's like actually to experience midlife, right?
Exactly. And also for those who are within my range of age, mid 40s, if you don't feel like or confused that you're not really feeling midlife yet, that's okay.
Yeah.
Perfectly okay. That's good, actually.
Yeah.
Usually these are for people who undergone a lot of changes or haven't adjusted to the change yet in regards being midlife. Still, recollecting being young and stuff like that. The other situation where it confuses you why you're feeling that way. But if you're not, that's perfectly okay.
Yeah. And like we said, I think like every experience of every person is totally different. Some people don't have even crisis. I know some friends who are actually so okay because their relationships are doing good. They're actually doing good in their career, and that's fine. It varies to every person. Like what you
Exactly.
experience right now doesn't need to be the same with what others are also experiencing or what others will experience too when they reach that age.
Yeah, usually when we say from 40s to 60s, it doesn't
Mhm.
mean that when you're 40s, you should feel midlife. Sometimes it can go later at 50s or 60s. It
Yeah.
really depends. It happens to everyone. And if it doesn't happen to you, good for you.
We're here to be in a safe community where we are okay to share our life's experiences.
Exactly.
Yeah. So now for our episode 2, our topic would actually be understanding the psychological aspects of midlife. And there are 3 things of the psychological aspects: identity,
Mm-hmm.
your purpose, and the meaning of life for you. Let's define what identity is. Identity is a sense of self that defines who we are, what we value, and how we see ourselves in relation to others. It's a complex, dynamic concept that evolves throughout our lives, influenced by various factors such as our experiences, relationships, and cultural background.
Yes.
So it doesn't mean that what your identity from 10 years or 20 years ago is the same identity as you have right now.
Yes. Exactly.
These are very interesting because I was reading some points from psychology today that sometimes you have identity crisis and you are so confused of who you are right now because you don't know yourself anymore. And to be honest, I went through that. Like moving from other country to a new country, it's super different culturally, language, it's different.
Mhm.
So somehow along the way, I was confused. Who am I here? And, probably some people will say, oh my God, you've changed. Well, you know what? I don't have a choice but to change because I am not in the same place anymore. I am not with the same people anymore. I am with a new environment. It's so new and I have to figure it out. So probably that is one of the aspects why sometimes we tend to say, bakit parang nagbago ka na? Right?
Yes.
And most of the time, it denotes negative thing. Like, oh, nagbago na siya. Or like, oh, na-promote siya, nagbago na siya. Well, you know what? Change is inevitable. Probably she changed because the promotion actually entails more responsibilities and more pressure on her shoulder or his shoulder.
So those kind of changes where your identity adjusts, where you go to a place, when you go to a new work, or any experience that is very new to you,
Mhm.
will actually invoke changes within your identity. In midlife, you've basically reached out a lot of changes already. For you, you're approaching midlife, this is one of your changes.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
eventually you'll see more changes until you go to my age.
Yeah.
And eventually you'll recollect, okay, it's like crossing a bridge.
Yeah.
You're there about to cross, and then you're in the middle of the bridge, and you were like, oh my goodness, I'm already here. So when I step forward on the next part of the bridge, you're about to retire. Oh my goodness. And sometimes you feel sad because the moment is gone, you think, oh, hindi na ako bata. What's going to happen to me now? Natatakot ka na. Like you're afraid going forward to cross that bridge. And it's okay because the thing is, that's how it should be. You need to adjust what your new identity is. You're not the same 20-year-old, 30-year-old person anymore.
Mhm.
You're in the 40s now or 50s. And by that time, you have another, if you're lucky enough, another 50 years before tapos na lahat. You're done with life. So what would you do about that, right? So that is what we're trying to discuss. Your identity changes. How does it change? What would you do when it changes? I think that your identity is having a little bit of a crisis in how you identify yourself now compared to what you were before. Let's say for before you're used to working late hours because you're trying to do the best you can for your career. Now you're pretty much up there and you have the career, for example, and you try to do stuff like what you were doing before. You're partying every night, for example, after, let's say, Friday, and now you can't because your body won't let you or you don't have enough stamina to do so. And you feel bad about it because you can't do the same things that you were able to do before.
Yeah.
So, how would you take a look at that in a point where it's positive for you? It's hard. I can relate with everyone else, my friends with the same age I am. They're having the same thought. How would we think about going forward? So, I guess what you need to think about is you've done a lot of things that you achieved already, and you have to be proud of that. Because if you're not, then you won't be able to go through with it in regards to moving on. So be happy that you're done this because not everyone goes through midlife. Right now, we are full of experience, and now we're going to go ahead and cross that precipice, the bridge.
So, some of the common changes in identity during midlife include shifts in career aspirations,
Mhm.
reevaluation of personal relationships,
Yeah.
and a re examination of personal values and beliefs.
The second one is interesting, the
Well,
reevaluation of personal relationships.
I know. So, sometimes along the way, there are relationships that also change. I realize that as you grow older, you actually value your time more. And I think right now I am in the position of my life where I'm very intentional with my relationship when it comes to my friends, when it comes to the people that I spend time with, because I always make sure that okay, we share the same value, we can talk and we can be comfortable with each other. Like I said, intentional with your relationships because you value your time more than before.
That is, you're hitting it through the heart of the subject right now. The time is more precious now compared
Mhm.
to when you're younger because you have more time then. Now you're in the middle stage of your life where you perceive time more precious. So you have to select your friends properly. You have to select the friends that can enrich you, give you less stress. Stress is normal, but the thing is, there are unnecessary stress that you can get rid of. Don't feel bad if you need to remove some relationships that you don't really think that is good for you, mentally, physically, emotionally.
And I remember what Papa said before. If it does not give you peace of mind, let go of it. It's a waste of time anyway. But there are still true friends out there. Like
Oh
I still
yes.
have high school friends that even though we don't talk to each other every day, it's like nothing has changed. I still have work friends from before that when we see each other in the Philippines again, it feels like nothing changed. And those are the true friends that you value because you've already built that foundation from past years of your life.
Exactly. The older you get, again, as I said, the less time you'll have for everything else because you have other stuff that you need to do. You got work, you
Mm-hmm.
got a family, You got things that you need to take care of yourself. So now, with all the hours that you spend, all of these part of it, then you have less hours now to spend with your friends. So, don't feel bad if you're actually noticing that you're having less and less friends compared to where when you were 20 or 30.
So let me ask you this. How do these changes in identity come about? And what are some of the factors that contribute to them? I think we tackled some of it, which is career changes, relationships. How did you know that your identity has changed when you entered midlife?
When I'm starting to train other engineers, because I'm an actual application support engineer. So when I started, I tried to learn stuff, I do a lot of stuff, and now I'm at the point where I teach other engineers now and they onboard. I noticed that. And because of that, I knew that, okay, my career is changing to the point now that I'm one of the people who are the foundation of the company. And in order for me to move forward, I need to start sharing my knowledge and experience. I feel like I'm so old now. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like one of those sages. It's like, oh, you do this because you need to do that. It's interesting. It's a change of a dynamic of how you are in your life right now. You're
And
in
you
a
actually see that, oh my God, I'm that person before.
Yes, when I was starting out, I have a mentor. Now I'm the mentor. And
Yeah.
it's an interesting feeling because you know that you achieved stuff and now you're living it. You're
Yeah.
living the life in regards to that.
Just like what we talked about when we attend parties before, we see our titos and titas. And now when we attend parties, we are
We
the
are
titos
the
and titas.
Tito.
Because I'm with him, I really learn a lot. To be honest, he's probably the smartest guy I've known
Oh,
personally.
there's okay.
Personally, because he has a lot of insights, he has a lot of wisdom, and every time I'm confused of something, he gives me that different perspective of life. If I actually put in an analogy, it's like I'm actually walking in the stairs. And then when I'm actually in a higher level of stairs, I can see myself up there. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's what I'm figuring out before. And I figured it out and I'm here watching it.
Yeah, you're looking down yourself, it's like, oh, I was
Yes,
that time,
yes,
and now I'm
yes.
here.
And that's what I feel when I actually ask for your wisdom because you're already in there.
I think it's part of progression on being human. You attain more experiences, more wisdom as you age. So when you actually were young and you have your grandpa giving advice or your father giving advice, it's like a cheat sheet,
Mhm.
meaning that hey, you learn, you listen to your elders because it really helps you go through life.
That's why I love talking to them. Remember when we visit one of the family members and I just really love talking to like elders because they have a lot of experiences that you can actually it's like reading a book and you're like listening to it live and then you're imagining, oh my God, that's their life before and that's how they did it. So one of the main factor is realization that life is finite and that time is running out. Like we said,
You're in
you
that
have to be
bridge.
intentional to your relationships.
Yes.
These awareness can bring about a sense of urgency to make changes and pursue new goals, leading to a shift in priorities and a re-examination of one's purpose in life. So let's go now from identity to purpose. Did you think that your purpose was different from when you were in 30s than your purpose right now?
Oh yes, of course. Not just the 30s, the 20s, the 30s, the 40s. So when I was, going through my 20s, my purpose was to graduate and finish school,
Hmm.
right? So that is a different life. Your experiences, your exposure to life during that time is way different after you graduate. So before you have pressure, competition with your other classmates or batchmates, those so on and so forth. You got a little bit of dating life and stuff. But after graduation, you're finding a job, starting your career, starting to think about family when you're 30s this time. And when you create a family, or even not create a family, as long as you're focused on one thing, it's a different experience than what you have in 30s. And the 40s, that's a whole different ballgame because usually mid 40s to 50s, uh, now you're pretty much in the middle of your career or pretty much at the late game of your career, meaning that you start thinking about retirement. You start thinking about what can you do to protect yourself the moment you grow older to the point that you can't work anymore.
Hmm.
How would you support yourself on that particular juncture? Those are the things that you don't think about when you're 30s or 20s yet. When you're 40s or 50s now, you start thinking about those.
So that's when you figured out that the purpose
The purpose is
has
different.
changed.
So how about you? What is your core purpose now when you're in your 30s?
Well, right now I think in my 30s, now that we're building our family and we have, our home, responsibilities actually increases as you grow, right? You
Yes,
have bills to
exactly. Oh
pay. My purpose is now to just maintain the career that I have and be good with it.
okay.
That's a long-term purpose. I want to be able to also contribute to our retirement
Yes.
because we are a team.
Yes.
As a married couple, we work as a team. My purpose is just to be good at my work and share life with you as we grow old. And of course, I also have a core purpose in life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I grew up in a Christian family. I was raised Christian by my parents, which I'm very thankful. Probably some people has different belief or values. I read this book from Rick Warren called Purpose Driven Life. I think I read that when I was in high school that God will give us experiences along the way in our lives and use it to be a ministry to other people. I didn't realize that before when I was still a teenager or probably in college.
Purpose is the main factor to drive you forward.
Yeah.
So there are other people that lost the purpose. For example, having a divorce, for example, or losing a very important someone, or losing a job. At times, they don't know what needs to get done next.
When bad things happen to us, it's so easy to question God. I did that. I literally experienced that. And along the way, God also is the one who answered me, you know what? It's okay. The purpose that He planted in me, that, you know what? God uses these experiences for you to be a ministry to others. And when I talk to some people who also experience the same, there's always that sense of purpose that keeps you going. If there's no purpose in your life, I don't think it will all make sense, right?
Yes, it won't. Some people will lose purpose. And by that time, I think you need to stop, breathe deeper, think about yourself, and try to cater to your wounds. Because if you're brokenhearted, you're traumatized, or anything like that, there are times that you need people to help you. Do not give in to despair. Always make sure that you take care of yourself first, because eventually, when all of this are done, time will heal, and then you will find another purpose. And when you start giving as well with other people, the moment you recover, the moment that you are strong enough to provide for other people, that will help you think and trust life again, of course, with God as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that, the question was, how did you know that your purpose has changed along the way?
It always changes, and if it does change, that's okay. It's just like driving a ship. You sail through it, and you go through the storms, you weather the storms, and then go through whatever path you want to take. Go through it, don't lose focus, and go reach it
Yeah. But of course, there will be challenges along the way.
all the
It's
time.
not always like, oh, good times and whatever. If any one of you actually is going through grief, especially when you lose a parent or a loved one, it's always going to be there. There's always a moment when you're sad because you just miss their presence. But one of our friends said that grief needs a witness.
Mhm.
So for me personally, I went through therapy, and that therapy was a witness of the grief that I was going through.
Mhm.
Months of just understanding what I feel because it can be an overwhelming emotion inside. And I tell you, once you put it out there and once you share it and you became vulnerable, you'll be okay. And always pray and kneel down because God is always watching. He's never closing his eyes to us. So, do you think that you perceive life's meaning differently now that you're in midlife?
So whenever you succeed in, going through your original purpose, let's say you graduate, that's your purpose, then it becomes something meaningful to you. This is the meaning of my life currently. Because oh my gosh, I got graduated, I did good, and I really going to be have a chance to help my parents because they put me to school. So I was like, oh, this is my meaning of it. Oh, I like this. So after this, it changes as well. All through time, it will change and it will have more meaning because you set your eyes and your goals to it. And the more fulfilling you have, the more meaning life will be for you. So again, it's you who define what it means for you to live, how you fulfill your happiness while you live. To attain to the pursuit of happiness is all on you as well. So trust the process, trust yourself. I know it's hard because you're pretty much now in midlife, if you are just like me. Whenever you try to say, oh, you know what? Let me try another career. Is that a good move? It really depends. What do you think? Let me see. Should I do business at this age? It's really hard, right? But
Yeah,
why
it's a
not?
big risk.
It's really up to you. The thing is, even though time is really precious when you're at this time of juncture at your life, you do have experience already. So you know what not to do. So after that, you can actually be a little bit more successful in regards to whatever you want. It's not too late. It's never too late. Just think about the stuff that you can do as long as you believe in it. Again, what did you learn before? Apply that
Yeah.
and you'll be fine.
So I think the sum of it is when you were in 20s, the meaning of your life is pursuing experiences, gaining experiences.
Yes.
When you were in 20s, like,
Yes.
oh, I want to travel, I want to gain that experience. When you're
Yes.
in 30s, the meaning of my life is
Yeah.
I want to save.
Yeah.
I actually want to travel, but I kind of want to save too. So let's weigh in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when you're in 40s, life is about, intentional relationships too.
Exactly.
Life is about valuing more of your time and spending it to the people that you think that is worth the value of your time.
Before, I don't know how to travel. Now, when I met her, I love to travel now.
So it's very important to note that not everyone experiences a midlife crisis or transition in the same way. Like we said,
Exactly.
sometimes
They don't experience midlife
yes,
crisis.
there are very lucky people out there who don't experience crisis. Like I said, I have some friends who are in their mid 40s that are very happy. There are challenges, but I don't think there's crisis.
Sometimes they feel it at 50s. Sometimes they feel it at
At
60s.
60s, it's very
So,
different. Yeah.
change does happen. And who knows when you're going to be feeling this.
Yeah.
But it really is a real life issue for a lot of
Yeah.
people.
When you think that you're going through something that you're confused or you're going through something that you don't understand, there are ways for you to cope. Probably have a talk with some friends that you trust, or if you're introvert and you don't want to talk to people, there are resources in Google,
Always.
YouTube, podcasts, or you probably want to share something too, share it to us. We're here.
Yes, there are certain institutions that sole purpose is to help out people who are in needing of help.
Yeah.
So research that. There's a lot of resources that you can see. It will help you.
We are actually doing this to have a safe community for people who can also relate to our experiences, his experiences, my experiences. Yeah, let's do life together. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. And for those of you who hasn't followed us yet, we have actually social media pages.
Yes.
Our Facebook is Meeting Midlife, and follow us on our Instagram, meeting.midlife. All the links are in there. We are on Spotify. We are on Apple Podcast. We are in YouTube. Subscribe to us. We are in Amazon Music. And that's all thanks to my sister. My sister actually is the one who also encouraged us to do this because she's super expert. She's doing marketing and she really does good
A
stuff.
very good job.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Marichu.
much. Yeah. Thank you so much, Ate. We really appreciate you. So, next episode will be about the positive aspects of midlife transition, embracing change and personal growth. So, yeah, sometimes when you're in midlife, it denotes negative, but there are positive aspects in that area. And we want to lean on that than to negative, right?
Yeah. So let's see what's positive about it.
Yeah.
And look forward to it.
Yeah, and we're here to also learn from our conversation. And I hope you guys also share your thoughts. If you have any comments or questions, share it to the comment and we're gonna find it out and discover it together.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you again next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Meeting Midlife. Be sure to follow and subscribe for more conversations and stories about the joys and challenges of this new season. Until then, keep living, keep learning, and keep growing. Thanks for listening.